Hi, bub. Is this Snorky? No, this is Shiner. Shiner.
Oh, Shiner. Oh, Shiner.
What are you doing, bub? There he goes. Big boy. And then who do we have over here? That's Nettie eating.
And we do have a guided tour coming down the road there.
Oh, this is the Telemundo, folks.
No.
It is.
Is it?
I think so.
Oh.
Joel's driving.
Oh, interesting. I was thinking they were in my van.
Yes, it is them, because there is... Oh, no, this is the photo tour.
Oh,
That's
there's
the
a
photo tour
today.
Yes. We've got a photo tour going on. And we are just hanging by our giraffe barn. You can see this is their feed tower, but we are currently in a big old pasture. Hello! That was a tour that just went by. They're doing a specialty photo tour where you can come out, visit, and gives you a chance to take some real professional photography. We basically kind of slow down and hang out at certain areas so people who have really nice cameras can get really good action shots. But yeah, we are just hanging out by the giraffe barn. Again, that's Nettie eating from the feed tower. Who's that back there? I think that's Mananasi. He's our male, one of our males. He's chilling. But yeah, we are in this big pasture. And look who this is. This is Shiner. So he's actually our second male giraffe. But he is neutered, so he is not our breeding male. But he is our tallest giraffe. He's quite a big guy. So Shiner just hanging out. And again, here comes Mananasi. So he's our active breeding bull. Typically in zoo facilities like ours, you can't have multiple males. Hi, Mananasi. We don't have any food for you, bub. You can't have two intact males because they will fight for dominance over the female, but you can have a group of just intact males and no females. It's called a bachelor herd. But since Shiner is neutered, he's not giving off any of those signals to Mananasi that he is any sort of breeding threat, which is why we're able to keep him here. It's not super common to have neutered giraffe, but at the time that Shiner was of age, he was decided to stay here at this facility, and he is related, I believe, to a couple of the females we have, and we don't want any of that interbreeding going on. He's so tall. Mananasi, could you lean down here so we can get a look at it? Oh, he said, fine. He's snorting. You can see just looking at him, just looking at his torso right here, he's got actually several scars all over him, and that's super common in all of our giraffe as well as our antelope. And that's because when they're walking around out here, they're eating from these big trees we have out here, these live oaks. We got a bunch of cedar trees, and they'll just sort of scrape up against them. They'll rub up against the trees to itch themselves. And it does kind of lead to them being covered in a bunch of little scratches.
You want to go down there and see if we can
Sure.
see a
So you
calf?
can see Mananasi is watching the photo tour in front of us. He's keeping an eye on them. And what we've got over here that Mananasi is facing is all of his calves, actually. He had 4 female calves born last year. So they're a year old. No, so just like any wild animal, giraffes have the potential to be aggressive, but due to their large size, comparatively to other wild animals, they're considered to be slightly more docile species. Of course, as you can tell, we're all in vehicles, so we don't get out and hang out with them. Yeah, typically they're fairly chill. But you know, if we were threatening to them, they could certainly defend themselves. But full-grown giraffe in the wild rarely face threats unless it's maybe a group of lions or something like that. And even then, those predators won't typically go after animals so big because they can hurt them unless they're pretty desperate. Yeah, you can see Mananasi is eating from this tour van over here. He's munching on them. And over here we've got Shiner and Nettie eating from the feed tower. So these giraffe live in a several hundred acre pasture out here. So all of this is land they can roam, but we're hanging out by their barn, which is that over there. They go into that barn when it is too cold or if it's stormy, and they kind of know it's their house. So they do tend to like to stick around here. And even though they can graze on this land, eat from the trees, we offer them some supplemental hay, alfalfa, that kind of things to give them some extra minerals that they might not be getting from the grazing and browsing items out here. And you can see there's munching on it. We have it a little bit lower than we might typically have it because we do have some calves. Our yearlings are still pretty short compared to our full-grown giraffes. So Shiner over here is probably closer to about 17 feet, where I believe Nettie is closer to like 14. But when they're born, they can already be around 6 feet tall, which is crazy. But they're just hanging out. It's a hot day here in Texas. It is like 90 degrees right now. And luckily they're built for the heat, but that's why there's really no other animals hanging out. They're all kind of resting in the shade right now.
I'm gonna scoot down.
Yeah. We're gonna move forward. So we're gonna pull a little closer to some of the other members of our giraffe herd.
Hopefully some of the kids.
Yes. So as I was saying, over here, you can see all 4 of our yearlings, or just 3 of our yearlings. One is off somewhere else. She's over there. And we're right next to Mananasi.
Our photo tour.
Yes.
Enjoying
But
nice calf view.
the 3 giraffe in the back here, so not the most front-facing giraffe, those are our yearlings. They were all born within a couple weeks of each other last spring break time. And they're all 3 Mananasi's daughters with different mothers, but all the same dad. They're all half-sisters. And then who's this over here? Is this Betty Jane? Or is this, no, this is Jan. We got Jan hanging out. Jan doesn't really like to approach vehicles, and that's totally fine. It's completely up to our animals whether or not they want to interact with vehicles. Some, like Nyla, who's walking up here, really love to try to eat from cars.
Can't tell. He made it seem like he needed to move backwards.
They've got space now if they need to. Here's Nyla. Her tongue is always hanging out. That's how you can tell who she is. She's missing a couple bottom teeth. Kind of like I always think of like an old Chihuahua when they have to get some of their teeth taken out and their tongue hangs out. She is not old, but she does have a few missing teeth, so she can use her tongue just fine. But she does, see, she put it back. She does like to let it hang out a little. And here, 2 of her yearlings coming up behind her. So one of the 4 yearlings we have is actually Nyla, who is this big giraffe right here. It's one of her calves. I don't know if either of these 2 are them, though. I have a hard time telling the yearlings apart.
So I think this one is. Well, can't tell at the moment.
So we tell our giraffes apart. Oh, Frizzy.
Maple.
Frizzy and Maple. So we tell our giraffes apart based on spot patterns and coloring mostly. So when they're born, we'll typically try to identify certain marks on them that are unique. For instance, Jan over here, the one in between these 2 giraffes, she has a spot that's kind of like in the perfect shape of a letter X on her side. So when we see that, we're like, oh, that's Jan, because none of the other giraffes have that. So
Well, and Jan never comes up to cars.
that is true. Also, Jan is never by cars.
Oh, Nyla.
Ooh, the slobbery. But when we have new babies, it can be hard. Oh God, slimy hand. It can be hard to tell them apart until we identify factors like that, because they all look really similar when they're born, and we haven't been around them long enough to pick things out. So, so you can see Nyla using that tongue. Giraffes use their tongue for almost everything. They use them very much the same way humans use their fingers or monkeys use their tails. So they are prehensile, which means they can bend and curve around things. So they use those tongues to grab food, strip leaves off trees. We've also been having a lot of rain here in Texas recently. So this is a natural creek we have running through here that our animals can use as a water source if they like. We do provide them with water troughs as well, but the creek is so full right now. Hi, baby. You know which one this is?
This is Goldie.
Goldie. She's testing out our mirror. So young giraffes are actually much fuzzier too than adults. They've got a bit of a thicker coat on them. Yeah, giraffes eat all kinds of things. They are browsers, which means that unlike animals who are called grazers who just eat grass, giraffes can eat all kinds of plants. So they can eat the leaves off trees and bushes. They can eat shrubs, grasses. So here at Fossil Rim, they eat the leaves off all these trees right here. That's why you can see there aren't really a lot of leaves after a certain point. That is thanks to our giraffes. They can graze from these grasses if they want. But we do also provide them with things like hay, as well as some pellets that contain supplemental nutrients that they might not be getting from our food out here. And this is honestly what they do all day. They're very calm. When they're young, oh, got an itch. When they're young, it's not uncommon to see them kind of running around and playing, but the older they get, the more chill they get in terms of their daily behavior. They have, a couple spots that they like to just sort of wander around to, and they spend most of their day eating and napping. They've got big bodies. They got to have a lot of energy to move around, so it's rare that they move very quickly. Yeah, lots of different animals are browsers. Black rhinos are browsers that we have out here. But then we do also have a lot of animals that are just grazers. So it can be very interesting the ways that they affect their ecosystems. In America, bison are a really good example of browsers. They can eat all kinds of things in their environment, whereas cattle are typically just grazers. Goldie, she's just hanging out. The creek, I don't know if you guys can hear it, it's making some lovely bubbling sounds. And it's real nice to have the creek real full this year. We've had a big drought in Texas the past couple of years, and it's great to have some natural water. You want to scoot up a tiny bit?
Sure.
See if we can get next to Goldie again. Hi, Bubby. So Goldie is only about a year old, and it'll take her several more years to reach maturity as well as breeding age. And she's still much shorter than most of the other giraffes we have out here because she's only a year old. She's probably what, like 12 feet now? 11, 12?
I would say so.
But she could, get up to 3, 4, 5 feet taller, depending on just her genetics, that kind of thing. But she's got a way to go. And she's still learning a lot about the world around her. So especially here at Fossil Rim, where our giraffes have an opportunity to sort of interact with the public, the giraffes are gonna kind of follow the example of their moms in terms of how they should interact with people. So if we have an adult giraffe who really loves eating from vehicles, then her calf might learn a bit sooner than others that she wants to do that too. Whereas if we have a giraffe who prefers to not be near vehicles at all and just kind of hang out in the field, her calf might do the same. And of course, we allow them to do whatever they like. We are always in vehicles. The only people who ever interact hands-on with them are our animal care and animal health teams. And all of this land you're seeing behind Goldie is all space that she is able to free roam. The giraffe do tend to stick around to this area that she's in just because it's right by their barn, which we can see over here. And giraffe have a barn, hi baby, because they are a bit sensitive to cold as well as stormy weather, which we do often get in Texas. So we keep them in there to keep them safe if necessary. But when they're free roaming, they can go wherever they like. But they know the barn's home, so they tend to stick by there. She's like, why are you following me? I already checked to see if you had food, and you didn't.
We'll go up and
Yeah.
look at Waffles.
Yes. So Waffles, who is this giraffe right in front of us, who's licking on this tree. She was our firstborn calf last year. So she's our oldest. And what she was just doing was licking on that tree bark. And there's some theories as to why they do that. So giraffes are ruminants, same thing as cows, which means they have chambered stomachs. They chew cud. So they eat their food, they swallow it, they spit it back up, chew it more, swallow it again. And what she's doing looking on this tree, I believe some researchers think that it helps stimulate saliva production, which sounds really weird, but it just helps aid in their digestion. She might also just like whatever that tree tastes like. Maybe there's some salt on there, or just something else she's interested in, but you can see she's just kind of lipping it. So she has that prehensile tongue. And then giraffes also have very horse and camel-like lips, so real floppy lips. And they don't have any teeth in the top front of their mouth. All of their teeth are in the back, kind of where our molars are. So they're very lip and tongue focused when it comes to eating and exploring. Again, she'll probably do this for like 20 minutes. They're very patient, very chill animals, all things considered. Waffles! Waffles! She's like, I literally don't care. I'm too busy licking this tree. But yeah, this is the gist of it. So giraffe are one of many species we have here at Fossil Rim. We are a zoological facility, but obviously we're not quite traditional. We don't have climate controlled enclosures. The majority of our animals are free roaming through pastures. So rather than having thousands of animals, or 100 of each animal, so we specialize in large herds. So we have 11 giraffe, but we specialize in endangered antelope species. So we have many different kinds of antelope living in our various pastures who interact with the giraffe. We do also have some cheetahs, as well as some wolves and rhinos. But the giraffe are the ones we can rely on the most to get footage of. They're the most outgoing. They do have really soft lips. If you guys have ever felt like a horse's nose, and it's that really soft touch. Giraffes feel pretty similar to that, except giraffes have whiskers all on the front of their mouth, like cat whiskers.
They're pretty coarse.
Yeah, so it's sort of like a soft horse nose, but with a coarse beard feeling. It's definitely unique. We're glad you come every year. You're in Glen Rose, Texas, so we're about an hour outside of the DFW area. Glen Rose has some other things to do in town as well. We have Dinosaur Valley State Park, which is a really cool place to see some fossils and dinosaur footprints along the river's edge. So you can kind of make a day out of it, come out here, and then go to Dinosaur Valley or vice versa. We're glad you love it here. Thank you. Yeah, this time of year is a great time to come. It's obviously getting much warmer, so if you do come, we recommend you come earlier in the day, or maybe you sign up to do one of our Twilight Twings, which is an evening tour. This time of day, most of the animals are tending to relax in the shade, kind of keep out of the heat. But I guess we're not in summer yet. We're still technically in spring. But yeah, it's a great time of year to come. This is calving season, so lots of babies have been born this year from our various antelope calves. Or various antelopes have had a bunch of calves, so very cool. So the cheetahs, you can drive by them. They do live in enclosures, fenced-in spaces that are about like an acre-sized enclosure for each cheetah. You are able, you are able to drive past their enclosures, but they can't actually approach cars. They're separated from you via a fence. but you can kind of get an up-close view of them. And those enclosures are within one of our pastures, so our antelope species are able to go right up to the cheetah fence if they want, and the cheetahs can see them and sniff them without actually causing any harm to them, which is actually great enrichment for both the cheetahs and the antelope. Encourages natural instincts on both sides without anyone actually getting injured. Yeah, we do have the photo safari. So actually earlier in this live, a photo tour drove by. So we don't offer them like weekly. We offer them on specified dates. But if you go to our website and you go to the ticket page, we have offerings for photo tours. But yeah, this is it. Probably gonna head out soon since it is very warm, and this is pretty much all that's going to be happening for the rest of the day. I would love for us to do a live soon with some baby antelope. Unfortunately, right now, since it's so hot this time of day, all of their moms have them all tucked away in the brush. But yeah, we'll try to do that soon. If you go to either our Instagram or our TikTok page, you can see some footage, though, of the antelope calves we've had recently. So they are out here. Yeah, well, come out and visit us. Get to see them, interact with them yourself. They're a real treat to get to be around. All right, guys. If you want to learn more about us, you can go to our website, fossilrim.org, or you can visit any of our social medias. We have all the ones you're thinking of. And yeah, you can learn more about us. Thanks.